What's up, everybody? This is Al the Power 78 coming at you. And what I'm gonna do for y'all today and for myself is I'm relearning how to use the fetch and how to use an API, async await. I feel like that's the easiest way to use a fetch. And I don't like using .then, 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 .then. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. We could use other ways. There's other ways we could do it to say, hey, if this don't work, don't return anything. If it works, return this. But I'm gonna go over my setup first of all. My extensions that I'm actually going to be using is my boilerplate. You don't need to use it. You could just create your own stuff. Auto rename, because if I need to rename anything, it works. Nothing spectacular about it. We're going to be using Watch Live SaaS compiler, live share, live servers. Like if I do anything with my son, using prettier VS Code icons, but those are not important as the other stuff. One thing I want to show you guys very fast is that I come in here and I will click this icon for the live SaaS compiler. And I will go extension settings and then edit in extension settings. You can see in the bottom right here, if it ever lets me click out, these extension settings are not set up the way mine is. So I'm gonna teach you how to do it. Quotations live settings dot formats files settings dot formats. Depending where you want your stuff at, if you want your stuff to be in a folder, then you're gonna have to fix this. I don't even use this. So then you would have to fix this. I want mine to be in a folder called source. Well, you gotta put a slash first, source, and then CSS, because we want to create it we want our source information to be like the JavaScript, the CSS, everything to be inside the source. So we want our CSS folder, our JavaScript folder, a SAS folder, and then they might have folders inside folders, but we want those original ones to be in the source folder. That's where we're gonna be creating all of that. At least for me. The other thing it does, if you don't have this, it automatically generates a well, let's get the right name for you. Hold on. First of all, we need a comma here. So live SAS compile, live SAS compiler settings, whatever. We want the generate map to be false. I don't want it to generate the map. I believe this is good for some people because what they're going to be doing with it is they're going to create a map, and I believe that map actually is a minified version of your JavaScript. That'd be good if you have a huge file for websites, so it could take less time to be pushed up and everything. I don't care. Now we're going to go into the setup. This setup's going to be a little bit easier because we're going to use Alt, Control Shift P. I'm going to use my boilerplate. Within this boilerplate, we are going to come here, and the first thing I want to do is watch my SAS, right? And then you see it created this folder. Now, I want to drag all this inside this folder. I want my SAS to be in here, but when I do this, it looks weird. Like this is inside the CSS folder, and it didn't drop down. If you have this issue, you want to click here again, and you want to make sure you got that highlighted. And now see how it separated it. And now I also want to do that to there. Now it's easy to put the JavaScript folder in. All right. Next thing I want to do, Control minus, is I want to make sure that my stuff is right. If you click in the beginning and press dot, dot slash, click SRC for source, then JS tab, site tab. That's what we want. I'm calling everything SAS. Site. I didn't have to highlight that, but if we do the same thing here, CSS is first, so you just tab and press Control S. That's what I was doing and making it a lot easier for me to do. And if you want to see if this is working properly, we're going to click here. We're going to click on this, and yes, everything worked properly. It linked correctly. But we're going to be taking care of some of the stuff. Like this is probably going to be called weather app, like that for the whole. That's going to be my container. Is the weather app. We're also going to add some of this right here. It's a star after, and then a star before. And then we're gonna make some spaces here because we want it to work for everything. But this means this asterisk right here just basically means that you want it to be a border box. This is gonna take some time, these videos, because I'm gonna explain some stuff to you. The before and after pseudo elements, they usually don't have pattern and margin. I believe it's already zeroed out. That's cool. But they have a box size. And usually it's content box, right? We don't want content box. Well, I don't, because with a content, the difference between content box and border box is the content box is actually like if you declared or you created like let's do this real quick. Let's go weather app. Let's just use the weather app and background color purple, and then we're gonna put a height of 10 pixels, right? And a width of 10 pixels, right? Right now it's on content box. That's your default. You save this and you come here. Well, okay, let's make 100 pixels so we could actually see this stuff. Magic work. Hopefully that's big enough. Okay, this is not working like I wanted it to work. Right here. Oh, weather app. Let me see. Index here. This is not saved. You have to put this weather app like that here. That's what it was. Now when we save it, Control KS. Now when we save it, we should see this purple thing right here, right? And we're gonna take care of all this right here. We don't need none of that there. We're just gonna show this real quick. And we're gonna get rid of the JavaScript. We do not need any of this JavaScript here, so let's just delete it, save that. Okay, what we see here, we're gonna inspect this element right here. Okay, this is very important. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. And in this element, you see that it's a background purple, 100 pixels height, 100 pixels width. If we add, go back over here. If we add a margin, let's see what happens of 1 rem all around, and 1 rem is like 16 pixels around. It's no longer a 25 pixel. Oh, hold on, we already have a margin. Never mind. We get rid of this margin real quick. We come here and we see that we have a 1 rem margin top all around it has 1 rem. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's what we want to see. That's awesome. Now we add some padding. Add some padding of 1 rem. Let's see what this looks like. Matter of fact, let's make the side-by-side comparison right here. So let's see. We are inspecting this, right? So let's inspect this. Okay, we have this weather app. Okay, it's 131 by 131 now. Why is that? Why is it not? Oh, basically 132 pixels by 132 pixels now. Why? Because your original 130 is right here. Yeah, your original 130 is the actual purple stuff. The extra box around it is your border around it. The margin is going to be the margin. It's going to have a margin around it already. So let's do the same thing. Let's just add some. I'm going to press Control B so we have more space over here. And now we're just going to call this box right here so we can compare it. And we're going to basically take all this. We're going to put it here and we're going to put box size in right here, border box, right? And we're going to see the difference right here. We just got to create, this box right here. So we're going to call it dot box right here, right? So you should be able to see a second one. All right, so let's go and inspect this one. So as you can see in box, it's a 100 by 100. What happens is that the padding, the margin is going to be the margin regardless, but the padding in it is actually it's pushed in. So you're always going to have 100 by 100. It's not going to change with the pattern regardless. And that's very important when you make websites because this is going to alter your stuff. Now, if we just put that border box on everything, right? You come back up here and make this border box, right? And we press save. You notice they're the same size now because it didn't use a margin to put 16 pixels all around it to make it bigger with the pattern. What happens is it push the pattern in. And that's how you see the difference now with that. So I want everything to be border box. We don't want this box right here. Just explaining something real quick. And over here, we don't want this box. So that's cool. Control save. And everything's gonna delete. Everything's working great. We're gonna keep the purple. We're gonna keep the color white, right? We didn't have the color white. So what I like to do sometimes is I like to just put HTML right here. And I just like to put scroll behavior right here and then put smooth, and that's cool. And then the HTML, I guess we could put a font family of whatever that. I'm just messing around with it, and I don't really have to do that, but if you want to see things working, that's what you can do. So we don't need, we're gonna keep this, and we're also gonna put the color white, and that's the font color right here. Oops. And then that sounds good. I see. Let's see if it looks any how crazy. And that go matches. That matches. We don't really want no overflow, and we're really not gonna put this height and width like that. We're gonna delete this for now, and then everything will fit inside. I'm not worried about exactly how everything's gonna be fit inside. At this time, we're gonna set it up. So the weather app, inside the weather app, we're gonna have a section, and with section is gonna be current section, like that. And inside here we have a current weather. That's really good. We're gonna put aria labeled by, and we're gonna put like CW for well, that the whole section is the current weather. So we're gonna put it I don't know. The H1 is gonna be called. We're gonna put this ID for the H1. We're gonna give that an ID of like that, and then we're gonna label it by current weather, which is real stupid that we have to be labeled that. Or we could just put aria label, and then we're gonna call it Al's weather app. We're gonna just do some quick fixing. I'm just gonna copy this. I don't have to type no more. And my title, as you see up here, is Al's boilerplate. We're gonna change that right here. Yeah, we're gonna change that to all the Al's weather app. Blah blah blah. Everything's looking spiffy. Yeah, that should be big. But if you notice, it's Control Z. I mean Control 0 because I had it extra big for no reason. Control 0 goes back to 100%. Same thing with this side right here. You have to go on that, press Control 0. I have it bigger so we could actually see. All right, so that's one thing I wanted to make sure I had this section. We have that. At the end of this, we're gonna create a card. The card is gonna have a title. It's also gonna have an image. I like to always do that. And then it's also gonna have an information section, .info. And then we're gonna do it, and we're basically gonna kind of leave it like this. One of the things we're gonna need is, and let's set up this open Mateo. Okay, this right here is the weather app thing we're gonna use. It's called openmateo.com. We're gonna click on the API docs, and I'm just gonna use I live in Spring Hill, so right here, if I right click and just click on that, and I come over here, I will be able to get all this information right here. Let's make this bigger so you can see it all out. Where I am, this is west. When it has a negative, is west. If you're missing something there, it might have a space. I do not know what that looks like, but I should have just cut that. But you also need a decimal point here, and this right here could just delete. I have the New York time, and I also am not doing hourly weather yet. We just do the current weather, only the current weather. The temperature, the apparent temperature. This means it feels like. Is it day or night? Right now it might be night. We want to just see if it's raining or whatever. We want the weather code. That's gonna allow us to get an image, and we want all this stuff right here. This is all beautiful. We want all that. We want it in Fahrenheit, of course. We want it miles per hour. 100 inches, and we want this Unix timestamp because it's very easy to converse. So we're gonna reload the chart. Nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna I clicked in here, Control A, Control C. Now we're gonna mess with some JavaScript real quick. We can close that out. We're gonna come to this JavaScript right here. And we're gonna put a constant URL, and it's gonna be the weather. So now I'm gonna press Alt and Z, and it's gonna do a word wrap. And I'm Control S, Control Z, because we want that there. And what we want to do here is we want to put a constant. And I'm gonna make this weather images, underscore images like that. right? Gets, and then we're gonna get something like that. We gotta create it. We can just get it from here. Control C, and then we come right here. And what this is a GitHub documentation. This guy put some images to a openweathermap.org. The only problem with that is that some of these actually need keys to mess with, API keys. I'm not worrying about the API key. That's something we can do later. So I'm doing the raw. This is raw right here. So it's called RAW raw. So it could just look like that and make it look easier. And we're gonna do this. Okay. The first two functions we're gonna create is we're gonna come right here and we're gonna call them getter functions, right? We're gonna come right here and we're gonna call this main function. Oh, main function. I mean, if you do that, and then we're gonna call this main function is gonna be the weather app function. It's just basically gonna call the other functions. We got getter functions, and I like to see the getter functions first, and then we're gonna put weather functions because that's what they're gonna be. So my main function is probably gonna be an async function like that, and we're gonna call it weather app like this, and then it needs open and closing parentheses and open and closing curly braces. This is how all functions should be. This function right here, we would just be calling it weather app right here, and this is just calling the function. Excuse yourselves. With calling these functions, I'm trying to make this like under 20 minutes. After you call the functions, we want to get getter functions. We will be using fetch. I could be using Axios and all these other things, but we're gonna be using fetch, and we're gonna be returning stuff with the fetch functions. So there are gonna be a couple of more. These are called global variables because they're outside of the scope variable of the function. So it's not a scope variable or a function variable. These can be used throughout the whole app, or script file, and these can only be used if you declare something inside here. Can only be used as a as a scope function or variable. All right. So the first getter function is we're gonna get async get weather because we have to get that right. We come down here. That's good to go. We forgot the word function, so it's like, what's going on here? Now it's good to go. The second function that we're gonna use is it's called get images, right? So instead of trying to call them outside, we're gonna call them in here, and we're gonna actually make them constants in here. So we're gonna put well, we're not gonna put nothing there right now, but in here we're gonna put a W, so we could. This is called, and then here we're gonna put I for weather and for images. And what this is called a parameter inside these parentheses. They are parameters. And what a parameter is gonna do for us is to allow us to send information back and forth. We send this information, then we're gonna return what we want back. The first parameter we're gonna let weather get await, and we're gonna get this function because we don't put await, we're just gonna get back a promise because they're async functions. So we're gonna put get weather, and inside the weather we're gonna put URL because that's how we have to do it. Now we're gonna return, right? We're gonna return weather down here, but these are different weathers. But yeah, we're gonna return the weather down here. This is gonna be a JSON response. So, and the same thing is gonna come. We're basically gonna be doing the exact same thing for weather and images. All right. So and then we're gonna have responses and everything. So the first the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna call this response gets fetch. Await fetch, and then the fetch is gonna get the W. What I'm gonna do real quick is like I said, I'm gonna be setting up just the JavaScript stuff. I like the outline. So we're gonna put console log, and we're gonna put response, and we're gonna see what response actually does. We're watching the SAS. The SAS works here. Now we're gonna go back to our port and go live, and it's gonna bring up the weather app again. But in here, we're gonna press F12 one more time, and we're gonna see response. We're gonna get this thing weather is not defined. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna get that, but response is a actual response, right? But that's cool because we want to put if response. All right, I want to look at that. So what? Let's do this again. Let's Control B here, so that closes. Let's put this to the sides and let's get this back over here. And we want to put status equals 200 if response status equals. You see 200 is a number, so we don't have to. We want to make it a number like that. We want to return weather. Return weather. Actually, we just want to return response dot JSON like that, and it'll return a response. It won't return a response. Actually, it will return the actual what we need. So it's going to return this latitude thing. This is a JSON file basically now. So it returns the current weather and the current units, elevations of 14 feet. The generation time MS. I don't know what that is. This is where I'm at. This is the time zone abbreviation, and these offset seconds. So basically, what this means is that we're probably off like 14 minutes or something like that. But we're gonna mess with that later on. We're gonna worry about dates and stuff. We're not worried about the time exactly. So here we go. So that's basically what we have to do. If it equals 200, then return that. Now people don't like this because they want it to be more. Some people don't like this. They want this to be more like this, even though that would have been just fine. A response status equals 200, but if it don't, we want to mess around with it. Else, return. You got to spell turn right, and then you put an error in server. So it's not your fault. It's their fault. Alt Shift F, and that makes it look prettier. That's what we're using, prettier. So down here, we see that we got this console log response. If we put the .json right here, and we see, yeah, this should probably be, yeah, we are rating await that. This should be return await. Yeah, there you go. We want to return an await. No, it's a promise, so that didn't work out. Oh, because we put await originally, so it's awaiting the promise. Oh, this should be await, baby. Yeah, so else return error in the server. So if the status is not 200, we need to return that. So I don't know, maybe this is something wrong here, and that's probably the issue, which it is. We should be able to see that right there in the console log. We should be able to see response.json right there. I don't know why it's giving us an issue right here. Yeah, well, I don't really care. It's working properly. So that's a console.log issue. It's working properly up here. So we're gonna do the exact same thing for images. All right. Basically, we're just gonna do this. And yeah. And then yeah, we forgot to put this part. Let's just copy all this right here, Control V. And we're gonna put an I instead of W here. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna do the exact same thing we did right here. Alt Shift down, but we're gonna call it images, and we're gonna put where the image is like that. And I press tab once it realizes what it is, and then we're gonna put images right here with a comma, and then it'll give us a space or just drop down. And you can see that everything worked out the exact same way. I sometimes copy and just paste this and create my own file, which you can do. But this is easy. This is just as easy, and it saves a little bit of time instead of copying and pasting and creating your own file in here. So all this is working. But now that we got that working, we're gonna have to start working on our weather app function. We got the weather functions down here, and we're gonna do that on the next video. We just want to set this up really quick, and we're gonna do some more of the index setup right here, and we're gonna create some more of this. We are already at 25 minutes. That's a lot. So let's do current weather after.